In 1931, 6 construction companies pooled $8 million and drove a fleet of Caterpillar crawlers into Black Canyon, Nevada. Over the next 5 years, those machines helped pour 4 million cubic yards of concrete into what became the tallest dam on Earth. Then the project ended, and every one of those machines disappeared. The internet says 89 Caterpillar bulldozers were abandoned in the Nevada desert when construction wrapped. That story has been repeated so many times, it feels like settled history. But we went looking for the source of that number, and it does not exist. Not in the Bureau of Reclamation archives, not in Caterpillar corporate records, not in a single photograph, auction ledger, or surplus manifest from 1936. What Caterpillar's own archive actually documents is 12 of their legendary Model 60 crawlers working the dam. 12. And a bulldozer in 1931 was not even a machine. It was the steel blade bolted to the front of one. R.G. Letourneau built those blades out of his Stockton, California shop and won 6 companies' Formal Service Achievement Award for it. So anyone counting 89 bulldozers would technically be counting steel blades, not tractors. That might sound like a letdown. 89 machines rotting in the Mojave sun makes a better thumbnail than 12 crawlers and a blade contract. But the verified story of what actually happened to this equipment fleet is bigger than any desert boneyard. Because these machines did not sit and rust. They scattered across the American West, built 4 more dams, crossed the Pacific Ocean, and ended up on islands where men were shooting at each other. And one piece of original equipment from 1931 is still working at the dam right now. Today, 95 years later. We need to start with the fleet itself, because even the verified numbers are staggering. The Caterpillar 60 was a gasoline crawler weighing 21,000 pounds, producing 60 horsepower, and selling for about $4,000 in 1931. At the dam, those 12 60s hauled penstock pipe, moved overburden on the access roads, and worked the cofferdam approaches. They could not fit inside the diversion tunnels. Nothing with tracks could. The tunnels belonged to different machines entirely. 6 companies ran custom Mack AP Super Duty trucks through those 4 bores, each tunnel 56 feet in diameter and roughly 4,000 feet long. Only 285 Mack APs were ever built between 1926 and 1938, and a significant share went to Black Canyon. Each carried 16 cubic yards on a 250 horsepower engine, twice the capacity of any other production truck on Earth. Marion Power Shovel supplied 100-ton electric excavators. Ingersoll Rand sold 500 pneumatic drills, verified by the Bureau of Reclamation, and 8 drilling jumbos were built on 10-ton International Harvester truck frames, each carrying 24 to 30 jackhammers stacked on 3 vertical platforms. One researcher traces the original jumbo design to a mechanic named Bernard Woody Williams, who welded the first prototype onto a 1916 International flatbed. That is the fleet the internet reduced to 89 Caterpillar dozers. The men running those machines worked in conditions that would shut down any job site today. Summer temperatures at the canyon floor averaged 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside the diversion tunnels, air hit 140 degrees Fahrenheit with thick gasoline exhaust from the Mack trucks. 16 workers died of heat prostration between June 25th and July 26, 1931, before 6 companies even broke ground on the dam itself. Those deaths forced the construction of Boulder City, the federal company town, built specifically so men did not have to live in the ragtown shanties along the river. One of the names on the Bureau of Reclamation's fatality list is A.O. George, age 40, a mechanic. The date was March 11, 1932. He was working on a dump truck at the auto repair station below the Lower Nevada diversion tunnel when another truck backed into him. The coroner recorded a fractured skull, fractured ribs, a severed right arm, and broken legs. A.O. George had been on shift for 35 minutes. It was his first day at the dam. If you want to find out what actually happened to every piece of equipment on this project after the last concrete was poured, hit like and subscribe. We are just getting started. The company behind this project was not one company. It was six. Six Companies Incorporated was formed in February 1931 because no single contractor could post the $5 million performance bond the Bureau of Reclamation required. Bechtel and Kaiser held 30% together. McDonald and Kahn took 20%. Utah Construction, run by the Watties brothers, took another 20%. Morrison Knudsen got 10%. J.F. Shea got 10%. Pacific Bridge got 10%. Their winning bid came in at $48,890,955.50. Exact to the half dollar. $24,000 below the government's own secret estimate, and $5 million below the next bidder. Frank Trenholm Crow ran the build. The workers called him Hurry Up Crow because he treated the construction schedule like a personal insult. He showed up at 2 in the morning to walk the site. He invented the overhead cableway system that moved 20-ton concrete buckets across the canyon on steel cables. And he designed the jumbo drilling rigs that let crews bore the tunnels at a pace no one thought possible. Worker Saul Red Wixson later said Crow was there to help you, not to fire you. Crow earned a $350,000 completion bonus and brought the dam in 2 years ahead of schedule. The project finished $15 million under budget. The official death toll is 96 industrial fatalities. A separate 42 deaths classified as pneumonia are widely believed to be carbon monoxide poisonings from those gasoline Mack trucks running inside the tunnels. 6 companies fought every lawsuit. When worker Ed Krause sued, claiming the exhaust caused permanent injury, the company produced a witness to testify against him in court. She was a prostitute in the pay of the contractors. The jury deadlocked. The strongest evidence the pneumonia deaths were misdiagnosed is simple. No civilians in Boulder City died of pneumonia during the same period. And then there is the Tierney detail. J.G. Tierney, a Bureau of Reclamation surveyor, drowned in a flash flood on the Colorado River on December 20, 1922, while scouting dam sites. He was the first person to die in connection with the project. The last person to die was his son, Patrick W. Tierney, an electrician's helper who fell from an Arizona side intake tower on December 20, 1935. Father and son, 13 years apart, to the day. Like and subscribe if you want more stories like this. Now the equipment. When the dam was formally handed over on March 1, 1936, 6 companies declared the fleet surplus. And this is where the abandoned in the desert myth falls apart completely. Because every constituent firm in the consortium had another massive project already lined up. J.F. Shea moved directly onto Parker Dam, roughly 150 miles downstream, which Frank Crow himself supervised with much of the same crew and equipment. Other firms hauled machines north to Bonneville Dam on the Columbia River in Oregon, then to Grand Coulee Dam in Washington, then to Shasta Dam in Northern California, and west to the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge foundations. The equipment did not retire. It graduated. By 1941, the 6 companies' member firms collectively held more than $500 million in federal contracts that traced directly back to the relationships built at Hoover Dam. Henry Kaiser's Richmond shipyards built roughly 1,490 ships during World War II, about 27% of the entire U.S. Maritime Commission tonnage. Morrison Knudsen led the contractor's Pacific Naval Air Bases Consortium and built the military installations on Wake Island, Midway, Guam, Samoa, and Palmyra. When Japan attacked Wake Island on December 7, 1941, over 1,100 civilian contractors were still on the ground. Many of them were former Hoover Dam veterans. Japan captured the island, and with it, every piece of American construction equipment the contractors had brought. The captured bulldozers were operated by the Japanese garrison for the rest of the war. Meanwhile, 6 companies held majority interest in Joshua Hendy Iron Works in Sunnyvale, California. That single factory produced 754 Liberty ship engines at a rate of 1 every 40.8 hours. The consortium that built a dam in the desert ended up building the infrastructure that won a world war. So what is actually still in the Nevada desert today? Not 89 bulldozers, but something almost stranger. The historic railroad trail through Hemingway Wash preserves the original 1931 grade of the United States government construction railroad. 5 tunnels are still standing, each roughly 25 feet in diameter and 300 feet long, built oversized so penstock sections could pass through on flat cars. The rails were pulled and scrapped in 1962. The trail reopened in 1992, and a major restoration was funded just this year. Lake Mead has been giving things back. As drought dropped the reservoir to historic lows in 2021 and 2022, a concrete water clarifying tank from the original construction emerged from the shoreline. Partial remains of the aggregate plant complex surfaced nearby, along with exposed segments of the old 6 companies' railroad grade. These are real, documented, photographable construction artifacts. They are just not the ones the internet promised. And then there is the one piece of original equipment that never left. The 1931 Lidgerwood Government Cableway is a $172,000, 150-ton overhead crane. It is still mounted at the dam, and it is still in active service for heavy lifts. 95 years old and working. The final economics tell you everything about what this fleet was worth. 6 companies spent $500 a day on truck and automobile tires alone when the roads were roughest. Monthly costs ran $48,000 for gas and oil, $40,000 for electricity, and roughly $500,000 for payroll. The federal government paid the consortium about $1.5 million per month. When it was all over, 6 companies cleared an estimated $8 million in profit on a $49 million contract in the middle of the Great Depression, with equipment they then leveraged into $500 million of follow-on work. Nobody abandoned that fleet in the desert. That fleet was the seed money for an empire. The Tierney family gave the project its first death and its last, 13 years apart. A.O. George lasted 35 minutes. Frank Crow brought it home 2 years early, then died of a heart attack on his California ranch 10 years later. The 12 Caterpillar 60s are gone. Nobody knows where any of them ended up. But the Lidgerwood Cableway, the one piece of iron that stayed, is still turning at the dam this morning. If you found something in this video you have never heard before, drop a comment telling us which detail surprised you. Like and subscribe, and we will keep digging into the stories the construction industry remembers but never recorded.